Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Merchah HaKudash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth and rule well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Merchah HaKudash, Barak Atam. It's the brother Kazak coming back at it again with another lesson. All right, and the topic of this lesson is going to be on how in these latter days, all right, the 12 tribes of Israel are going to come together. Okay, and it's going to start in this truth, in this knowledge with the elect. Lord willing, we're of that number. All right, now this lesson is coming through the inspiration, of a controversy that, I was observing, how it transpired, checked on the aftermath a little bit, to see, what was, going on or still going on, and that controversy, was the situation with that song that, that rapper Tyga released, which I did a lesson on it, when it got released like 2-3 weeks ago, and the lesson is titled as, Esau's pathetic attempts to, separate the tribes, something along the lines of that, and I watched how the whole, thing transpired, the whole controversy transpired, because ultimately what this devil is trying to do is he's trying to, separate and get that, old, that ancient, rivalry between the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, to happen again. You know what I'm saying? Which you're going to have people in the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. All right, you're going to have Jakes on both sides that's, on that BS, man. They in that spirit, man. On both sides, you're going to have that, but then you're also going to have those that see past it. And that's one of the things that I observed, when I watched that whole controversy, go down, all right, is that on both sides, all right, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, they were acknowledging that this is divide and conquer tactics. By who? Who's putting out these divide and conquer tactics? Esau, Edom. All right, now you're going to have knuckleheads out there, when all hell breaks loose, Jacob's trouble. All right, they might war against each other. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up in that hype. You know what I mean? But guess what? In these latter days, what I saw, what I observed, you know what I'm saying? When that whole, controversy took place, all right, you had this one dude, he spoke up against it, and then they try to, they took one of his videos, they chopped it up and made it seem like he said something he didn't really say. You know what I'm saying? To try to, stir up more strife. And then they saw past that. This devil can't do anything against Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, man. All right. And I don't really, I'm not going to go into, the specifics. You know what I'm saying? Just look up, Tyga, I Karamba, and then, you'll see the whole, you'll see the reactions, and, you want to find out more about that, controversy. It's right there on the internet, man. At the end of the day, Tyga took the song down. You know what I'm saying? And, that they got resolved, but hey, man, this is just, attempts from the elites to try to, separate the tribes, but they can't do anything. Okay. Because at the end of the day, it's biblical prophecy that the tribes is going to come together. All right. And the real reason, all right, why the tribes were separated in the beginning was because of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai and judgment. All right. And that's where we're going to start things off. All right. We're going to, set the background as to why, the tribes were the nation of Israel. All right. The kingdom of Israel, in ancient times was split into two. All right. Where you have the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, and then you have the kingdom of Israel. Okay. So let's get into it. All right. Now I'm contemplating whether I should. I mean, it is only, 8 verses. So I'm going to start from the top, man. Just to give the proper context to the situation. All right. So the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11 and 1. And it reads, "But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites." So King Solomon, he was known for having, many wives. All right. And many concubines. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, he had 700 wives, and 300 concubines. All right. Now there is a distinction between wives and concubines. All right. A wife is how do I put it to you? A wife is, pertains to a daughter of Zion, and a concubine pertains to the nations. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you can't make a heathen woman your wife, but you can make her your concubine. All right. And the reason why you can't make her your wife is because once you marry a woman, it's like, two houses being joined together. How are you going to join your house with a house of the heathen, man? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, you know what I'm saying? Continuing on with the topic, all right, because that's kind of, going off into another topic in itself. King Solomon, he was with heathen women. He was dealing with heathen women, and there ain't nothing wrong with dealing with heathen women, man. You got doctrines out there, try to, regulate who we could get with, who we could not get with. Look, man, we the kings of the earth, man. All right, Lord willing, we're of that number. We the kings of the earth, and the whole world is for our possession. That's Psalms chapter 2. All right, so whoever, is out there, pushing that, you know what I'm saying, they through, man. And ultimately, they don't have that, rulership mentality. All right. But in this situation, King Solomon, he got seduced spiritually. And we're going to read about it. All right. So verse 2, of the nations concerning which Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come into you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. All right. So basically, that's basically saying that, you can't be going into their idols, man. All right. But you can have concubines, but you can't go into their idols, man. All right. Verse 3, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. All right. For it came to pass when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after the other gods. All right. Now these were the, the heathen women, that turned his heart away unto the other gods. All right. And it reads, and his heart was not perfect with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai his power, as was the heart of David his father. Okay. And that's another thing too. King Solomon is the son of King David. All right. And he was the one who inherited the throne. Okay. And within this period of time, Israel was together, man. All right. There was no, Southern Kingdom, Northern Kingdom beef. There was no division, but Israel was together. All right. Now, King Solomon, in his turn, he was, ruling right, but then he started going off. All right. Verse 5, for Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and went not fully after Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, as did his father, as did David his father. All right. Then did Solomon build an high place of Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. So, he was going off, man, going far left. Verse 8, and likewise he did for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrifice unto their gods. All right. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the power of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. Okay. And had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which Yahweh Bashem Yahushai commanded. You know what I'm saying? And that's, the basics of it, man. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 15. The curses shall come upon you. All right. And that's how, what I'm saying, even, that's how, it started to go downhill from there, as a nation. So continuing on, and it reads, verse 11, wherefore Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and I will give it to thy servant. All right. Verse 12, notwithstanding, in thy days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Okay. So this is, going into his son, King Solomon's son, which was Rehoboam, who inherited, the throne. All right. That's when the kingdom was going to be rent. All right. Meaning taken away, separated. All right. Verse 13, howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but I will give one tribe to thy son for David, my father's sake, my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. All right. So that's what the Lord promised King Solomon. You know what I'm saying? For going off, man. And when you notice, that's why it makes a lot of sense. He came back as Yahushua in the reincarnation, and he had to get on the cross, for our iniquities, man. Everything balances itself out at the end. All right. But let's go into, you know what I'm saying? Continue on with the topic. All right. Let me see. All right. So we're going to jump down to verse 26. All right. And it reads, and Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zerida, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. Now, this is an important person right here. All right, Jeroboam, because he, went on to lead the northern kingdom. Okay, he was the one, you could say he was the one that started the secession. So verse 27, and this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Millo and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way. All right. Now this is where, it gets taken away from our hands, and it's shown and it's revealed that this is something that is done because of the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay. This was never because some dudes don't like, the other tribe. All right. This was ultimately for judgment, for punishment, man. All right. Because we were going off. King Solomon was going off, and that's where, it went downhill from there, man. You know what I'm saying? But continuing on, and it reads, and he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field. Verse 30, and Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus said Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, our power, the power of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. All right, so that's where, you know what I'm saying, the split, really originates from. All right, verse 32, but he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, because that they have forsaken me and worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, Shemos, the god of the Moabites, Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in mine eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. All right, so, it's point blank, man. You know what I'm saying? The Israel just going off. All right. Verse 34, howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life, for David my servant's sake, whom I choose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. All right. And that's how, you know what I'm saying? That's why, how do I put it to you? That's why when King Solomon died, and Jeroboam, and Rehoboam had that dispute, they basically, Rehoboam didn't take counsel from the elders that were telling them, to, listen to the people. That's why the Lord had it to where instead of listening to the elders, he listened to the young men, and he went out and dissed the 10 tribes, and that's how, that got the ball rolling to where Jeroboam seceded, and they became the northern kingdom. All right. So continuing on, let me see. All right, let me see. Hold on a second. Verse 36, kind of lost my place. All right, and it reads, and unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and thou shalt be king over Israel. All right. So that's where, the split was being foreshadowed. That's where it was being set in stage. King Solomon went off. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord, told King Solomon that the kingdom was going to be rent away from him and given unto his servant, who was Jeroboam. And he was only going to keep one tribe, which was, the tribe of Benjamin. You know what I'm saying? And then you have Levi, they stay with all the tribes. You know what I'm saying? So they, they stay with Judah. They in the southern kingdom. But that's how, the separation came to be. You know what I'm saying? At the end, the scriptures talk about, these two characters, man. I'm not characters, Salakia, these two men. You know what I'm saying? And it goes into it in the book of Sirach, chapter 47, verse 23. We're going to grab that. All right. So Sirach is the book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. All right. And let me see. All right, so the book of Sirach, chapter 47, verse 23. All right, and it reads, thus rested Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind him. That's supposed to say Rehoboam. It's spelled differently, Roboam. All right, but the son of his, the son of King Solomon, that's Rehoboam. All right, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding. All right, so I'm gonna read it again. And thus rested Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding. All right, who turned away the people through his counsel. Okay, and that counsel. All right, and I had to bring this out, before coming out, going to 1 Kings chapter 12. All right, when he became how do I put it? When he became, the king after King Solomon died, this is what this was going into. All right, this is the counsel that it was, that is mentioning of. All right, so book of 1 Kings chapter 12 and 1. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were to come to Shechem to make him king. So this is in the event of the coronation. All right, King Solomon just died. Rehoboam is the king. He's the heir. So they're coming to see his coronation. All right, verse 2. And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of the king Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt. All right, that they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, all right, so this is Jeroboam, with all the congregation of Israel. So this is the northern kingdom, or what was soon after that became the northern kingdom. All right, they went to Jeroboam, to plead their case. Maybe, they had a little petition type of thing going, Verse 4, thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke, which he put upon us, lighter, and we will serve thee. All right. So verse 5. And he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. All right. So, this is going to be the counsel that he is talking about. I mean, it's like that the scriptures was talking about. Verse 6. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived. All right. So this is, what I mentioned earlier, dealing with him not listening to the elders, man. These are, the old men, the elders, all right, that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived. So these are men of experience. These are the men you go when you need advice, the advisors, things like that, man. So he came to them and here's what they said. How do you advise that I may answer this people? Right. So he, sought out advice. Verse 7. And they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them and answer them and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. All right. So all you have to do, just lighten up with the yoke. Whatever they was asking, lighten it up. It would have been, he said, then they will be, speak good words unto them. Then they will be thy servants forever. And that's one of the things I always notice about the Northern Kingdom, man. You know what I'm saying? And the Southern Kingdom, the Southern Kingdom act cool with the Northern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom is, you know what I'm saying? What's the word? Jubilant. So it's they're overly happy, to be with the Southern Kingdom, man. But sometimes the Southern Kingdom could be assholes. And that's why you get the scripture. Judah shall not vex Ephraim, and Ephraim shall not envy Judah. You know what I'm saying? Ephraim, Judah vex Ephraim. Judah do stuff that rub Ephraim the wrong way, man. And that little controversy was an example of that. And then you have Ephraim envying Judah because Judah the head tribe, man. And that's how Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai ordained it to be. So, hey, man, you got a problem with that? Take it up with the Lord, man. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, all right, verse 8. But he forsook the counsel of the old men. All right, so they told him, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, go, be there for your people, speak good words unto them. You know what I'm saying? And appease, what they ask of you, for lack of a better term. All right. So this is what he does. He forsook the counsel of the old men, all right, the elders, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him. So instead of his elders, he went to his boys. He went to his friends that he grew up with, man. And the reason which stood before him. And he said unto them, what counsel give ye that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter. All right. And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shall you say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. You know what I'm saying? So, man, disrespectful, right? Verse 11. And now whereas my father did lay you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father has chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Okay, so Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him. So this happened. This is how it transpired. All right. And spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I'll add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Right. So this is how it transpired. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that he might perform his saying, which Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai spake by Ahijah, the Shilonite, unto Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Okay. So like I said earlier, this thing was not because of Jake's. You know, it was, you know what I'm saying? But it was the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai as punishment, you know, for King Solomon's transgressions. You know, how he went off, you know, so the tribes got separated. Okay, that's how it transpired, man. That's what was all about, you know. Verse 16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? Neither have we an inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel, now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. All right. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Okay, so that's going into, you know, a remnant of the northern tribes that stayed with, you know what I'm saying, that stayed with the southern kingdom. Because he did have a portion of the northern kingdom that stayed with the southern kingdom. All right, verse 18, then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee Jerusalem. All right. So, hey, man, it got hot. You know, Rehoboam sent, you know, the Adoram, who was over the tribute, I guess, you know, taxes, for lack of a better term. And what did Israel do? The northern kingdom, they stoned them. All right. And Rehoboam, you know, he dipped out of there. He fled to Jerusalem. Verse 19. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. All right. And that's where, you know, that's the conclusion of that. Which, you know, the story goes on, you know, but that's how it transpired. That's why Sirach chapter 47 and 23 says that. All right. Which we go back to it. It says, thus rested Solomon with his fathers, and of the seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding, who turned away the people through his counsel. So that what we just read, the passage we just read, all right, the account that we just read was the counsel that turned the people away. You know, instead of, you know, taking heed to what the elders had to say and the advice that and the counsel that the elders had, he went to his friends. He went to the young men. You know, and that's how, you know, the kingdom got, you know what I'm saying? That's how it became manifest what Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai told King Solomon what he was gonna do. All right, and what the prophet, you know, Ahijah, if I remember correctly, told Jeroboam, you know, what the Lord was gonna do. You know, now he was gonna receive 10 tribes unto that he was going to rule over the 10 tribes, you know, the northern kingdom. All right. And then there's the second part of the verse, man, because Rehoboam ain't the bad guy. He ain't the only bad guy here. You also got Jeroboam. What did he do? Jeroboam made the northern kingdom go off, man. All right. If you read into the passages, you know what I'm saying, because he had some type of insecurity, you know, that Israel was gonna flip on him, going to Jerusalem to worship Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. You know, instead he built up idols and had the northern kingdom worship that, man. You know, and like I said, from there it's just a downhill, man. You know what I'm saying, for the whole nation. All right, continuing on, and it says, there was also Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin and showed Ephraim the way of sin. Okay, and their sins were multiplied exceedingly, that they were driven out of the land. All right, and ultimately, man, that's going into, you know, the captivity with the Assyrians. You know, for they sought out all wickedness till the vengeance came upon them. Okay, and that's how, you know, the northern kingdom, you know, that's how it got transpired, that they were carried away into captivity, man. You know, by the Assyrians, and then they took counsel among themselves. All right, and then they went, you know, to get out of, you know, Assyria and come over here to Babylon, man, through the waters, through the ships. You know, that's another, you know, topic in itself. All right, but this is, you know, just going into the, you know, the origins of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. You know, how that split, how that division came to be. You know, it was just a judgment from Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. But now we're the reason why we see, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, even in the world, they, intermingling, they, hanging out with each other more and more often, is because Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is doing away with that. He's doing away with that, with that ancient spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's the tabernacle of David, ultimately, because it starts here in the truth. It starts here in the truth, man. All right, so let's go into the prophecies. All right, we're going to go into the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37. All right, we're going to start from the top and go all the way down, to where it talks about the two sticks, okay, becoming one stick again. So Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 1. And it reads, the hand of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai was upon me, and he carried me out in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones. All right. So this is, the valley of dry bones. Okay. And these bones represent us as not us as a whole nation, but it represented the elect. All right. Ultimately, we're gonna draw a parallel with this and Revelations chapter 11. Because this represents, the elect, man. All right, full of dry bones. Basically, we had no life to us when we were in the world. Lord willing, we're of that number. I say that as a hopeful elect. You know what I'm saying? But hey, before coming into this truth, you had no life in you, man. You know what I'm saying? When I say life, I mean like spiritual life. The wisdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, which is basically life, it symbolizes life, was not in us, man. And we were as dry bones, being, malnourished in spiritually in this world, man. So verse 2, and caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, they were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. All right, because think about it, man. We've been here for decades, centuries. All right, yet this day in our captivity, we forgot who we were as a people. Okay, so here we are in Babylon. All right, northern kingdom, southern kingdom. Okay, you got all manner of philosophies, doctrines, you know what I'm saying, Christianity, Islam, you know what I mean, all manner of broken cisterns being, us being force-fed with that, that we are literally as dry bones, spiritually speaking. We had no inkling of the truth. We read the scriptures, you know what I'm saying, but, Christian church will tell you, a couple things, but are they really telling you the truth? No. That's why the elders and apostles on down, are so adamant against going against, tearing down that stronghold of Christianity, man. Because it's nothing but deception. All right. And it's a contribution as to, the valley of dry bones, which is the elect, being, lifeless. All right. Verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Yahweh, our power thou knowest. Verse 4. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. I'm going to read it again. Prophesy. So again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, and that's where it starts. Upon hearing the word, man. Because when you read, and sorry, not read, but when you actually hear, the scriptures being broken down correctly, the prophecies being lined up with things that's happening in the world, then that's how you know this thing is the truth, man. And what transpired with that controversy is just further manifestation that this is the truth, man. All right, because, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? The so-called black and brown relations here, on this side was kind of, you got tensions, man. It was, what I'm saying, in the past, dudes was going to war with each other type ish, and it was all mainly because of the gangs, which, them gangs, man, they infiltrated by, Esau, but it's just to further, you know what I'm saying? It's another platform to further, our people just going off, man. So verse 5. Thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, our power unto these bones. Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. All right, which that breath represents this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Verse 6. And I will lay sinews upon you, and you will bring up flesh, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay, so this is basically the elect being restored. All right, and we're gonna get the parallel in Revelations chapter 11. Okay, verse 7. It reads, So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied there was a noise, and behold a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, and lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. All right. Then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, Thus said Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, our power, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain that they might live. All right, because again, the breath represents the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. In verse 8, where it says, you got the sinews, the flesh came upon them, but there was no breath in them. All right, hey, you got jakes that, you know what I'm saying? They may know a thing or two, man. They may know that they are Israelite, but they call on another name, or they, got his doctrines mixed up. Maybe he watched a whole bunch of other camps. Maybe he watched the Israelites and then he watched the Black conscious community. Maybe he watched the Israelites and then he watches, some brown beret thing. I'm just throwing something out there, for the Northern Kingdom. They got their own, philosophies. Getting, they dealing with their own philosophies too, man. You know what I'm saying? So, man, you know what I'm saying? That's, that represents those that, they know a thing or two, but they don't really got the 100% truth, So continuing on, the verse, let me see. Yeah, verse 10. All right, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived. All right, and stood upon their feet an exceeding great army. And this army is the elect, the 12 tribes of Israel, man. All right, 12,000 out of each tribe. And then you're going to have Israelite foreigners, Jakes that been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth that's going to look like the other nations. You know what I'm saying? But it's so easy, for this devil to, nitpick, little carnal, things and try to, sow division against brothers, man. But he can't do it. He could try, like, hey, he could accomplish that with the 2/3. All right. But the elect and the 1/3 remnant, they're not going to fall for it. OK, and I'm not saying that, the people that were in that, that got caught up in that controversy, you know what I'm saying, that, the main ones, that had the little platform. I'm not saying they, of the elect, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, the elect ain't gonna fall for that. You know what I'm saying? So continuing on, and it reads, all right, well, actually, before I, get into that, let me see. Well, actually, I could continue on going with this, but I thought this is when it, segues onto the two sticks. All right, so verse 12, and it reads, Therefore prophesy and say unto, wait, hold on a second. So like in verse 11, then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dried and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts, right? And that's going into the falling away, not having any knowledge of that pertains to you, because this truth pertains to us, man. If you don't have this truth, you're as a leaf in the wind, with all these doctrines, all over the place, man. You gonna say you the last samurai one day, you gonna say you something else the other day, man. Just what I'm saying, just thrown to and fro with every wind of doctrine. All right, so verse 12, therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Shem Yahushua our power. Behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, and will bring you into the land of Israel. All right, now that's going into when we be delivered, man. Okay, but ultimately, man, you notice how it says, I will open up your graves. All right, meaning that we're going to wake up, and come back to life spiritually. All right, and once you come into this truth, man, that's you're out of your grave. You everything in the world, starts to make sense. And now you know how to move accordingly, in the world. All right. Verse 13. Okay. Oh, Salakia. So yeah, verse 13. And the reason ye shall know that I am Yahweh Shem Yahushai, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall ye know that I, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, have spoken it and performed it, said Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, and that's really like, you know what I'm saying, a summarization of how Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to deliver Israel in a sense. How the Lord, restored and delivers Israel. Because this starts with the restoration process. Us coming back into the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, we're of the elect. And once, all hell breaks loose, and then missiles is about to fall, we get delivered out of that, by way of the chariots. And we get placed back into our own land. And by then we won't have the incorruptible bodies. But anyways, continuing on. All right, verse 15. Now this is where it segues onto the two sticks. All right, now before we get into the two sticks, we're going to touch upon Revelations chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to start at verse 8. All right, and just, kind of, keep it to the point, because lesson's been going on for a while already. So, for the sake of time. All right. So Revelations chapter 11 and 8, and it reads, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. All right. So it talks about their dead bodies. Right. So that whose is that referring to? That's referring to the two witnesses, which the two witnesses represent the elect of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. All right. And it says, shall lie in the street, their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. The great city represents Babylon, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. And you know why it's called Sodom and Egypt, man? For all the freakism, all right, and the slavery that took place. All right. Sodom represents, the freakism, and Egypt represents the slavery, the bitterness of this place. Also too, in the spiritual sense, a lot of witchcraft, because if you see a lot of these, a lot of this Satanism and stuff, it goes back to Egypt, man. All right. That's why, you know what I'm saying? You got the pyramids, symbolism and things of that nature. All right. This place, that's why this place is Babylon, because it's basically a spiritual, clusterfuck of different, heathen kingdoms that existed in the past. It takes one thing from one kingdom, one thing from another kingdom. You got the Roman layout. You know what I'm saying? That's what this place is. That's why this place is Babylon, man. So many doctrines, so many philosophies. All right, but continuing on, going into the next part. All right, so finishing up with this one, it says where also our Lord was crucified. All right, because this is where, Yahweh Shai, okay, he was, also demonized, man. Dealing with, the image that they have, for Caesar Borgia, man. You know what I'm saying? Here it is. The scriptures tell you how the Lord looks like, man. But still, these devils push that Caesar Borgia in your face, man. Still, they push that white, sweet Jesus in your face, man. But continuing on, and that was a way of crucifying Yahweh Shai, to completely X him out and proclaim, some wicked devil, who lived an extremely wicked lifestyle. If you research, Caesar Borgia and what he did with his family and them, a lot of freakism. You know what I'm saying? And they put him up as the savior. They put him up as the anointed one that the scriptures talk about. But anyways, continuing on, and it reads, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. All right, meaning that these nations never cared for us, man. All right, these 3 days and a half represents our captivity here in Babylon. None of them, what I'm saying, told us, who we are as a people. None of them looked out for us. None of that, man. All right. Verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth rejoice over them and make merry. And that's talking about our enemies. All right. They that dwell upon the earth. That's talking about these other nations. They rejoiced over us. They made merry over us. Because it goes back to Psalms chapter 2. Let us break their bands asunder. Psalms 83. That confederacy against us, that we may no longer be a nation. How the scriptures say, surely this was the day that we seeketh for. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. Because they want to be on top. It's a real jealousy thing with these other heathens, man. They especially with Esau. You got Esau. He wants to. He feels cheated because of the whole birthright and the blessings. Which really, man, he sold the birthright to Jacob, and with the birthright comes the blessing. So, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, you got that, and then you got the other nations. They want to be on top. Now that we at the bottom, we see them scrambling and fighting each other for that preeminence. On the next, in what they perceive to be the next, a world to be. With these elites and their new enterprise that they're setting up. With the CHIP. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you see them making, certain moves. All right. But Jacob is the one that got next, man. Okay. But you see that these are not our friends, man. These are our enemies. All right. But continuing on, and it reads, and shall send gifts one to another. All right. Now, them gifts is talking about you. Okay. You so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. All right. They send gifts one to another, meaning they send you off as slaves from one heathen to another, man. That slave trade. You had the Arabic slave trade. A brother was telling me, a couple weeks ago, even the tribe of Issachar, man, they were being shipped out to the Philippines, man. So that's an example of that, sending gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt upon the earth. All right, verse 11. Okay, now this is the key point. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, now these 3 days and a half, we read above, represents the 350 years of us being in this captivity, that we're going to wake up. You know what I'm saying? Well, after those 350 years, that we're going to wake up and come back into our true nationality, come back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right. And who did that start with? That started with One West, Abba Bivens. Okay. And that is a manifestation of the precept. All right. Let me see. Zechariah, the prophecy. Let me see. Yeah. 12 and 7. All right. So Zechariah chapter 12 and 7. And Yahweh Hashem Yahushua also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. All right? Because there's an order in this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So continuing on, going back to Revelations chapter 11. All right, so that's where it started with. You had Abba Bivens, the One West, and the legacy, went down, now to us, man. Now you have the elders and apostles, great millstone, on down. And I may not be in, a GMS, but I teach the same thing. All right, I'm in agreement with the doctrine. Okay, So continuing on. All right, that's what them 3 days and a half represent. Us being in that hardcore bondage. All right, and not knowing, who we were as a people. Being completely in the grave. Because think about it, man. Plantation. You know what I'm saying? Being in slavery in plantation. You know what I'm saying? Being having genocides. Waged against you. Being marginalized. To some corner of the land that was once yours. Going into the Northern Kingdom. That is the grave, man. You know what I'm saying? So after 3 days and a half, that time period, right? We came back into the truth. That started in the 60s with Abba Bivens. Okay? And the spirit of life from Yahweh Shem Shai entered into them, and they stood upon their feet. All right? So that's going into what we just read in the other chapter, Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones. And the great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right? So those that, had the great fear fall upon them, that's talking about these other nations, man. All right? Because they fear us coming back to our power. That's why you have so much, you know what I'm saying, so much friction, even with the controversy that just happened, man. It is, you just have one little Issacharite dude, he stood up, you know what I'm saying, he said his opinion, right? The rapper took his song down, end of story. You know what I'm saying? But with the BS that followed after that, it shows you that this devil, he does not want to see the tribes get together. Now, hey, man, if the 2/3 shoot each other up and go to war with each other, it don't really matter. Because they're going to, be destroyed anyways. All right, but the elect, that's not going to work on the elect, man. All right? The elect is a whole different story. All right? Because the elect is going to come in and they're going to receive this thing. And they're not going to be fazed by the wiles of this devil, man. We don't have that armor on. We're not fazed by his, different devices. That's why the scripture says, man, be not ignorant. No, so like at least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, look, roughly paraphrasing. So the elect ain't going, they ain't gonna be fazed by that. The little pathetic attempts to try to, disrupt the tribes. Even Jake in the world ain't fazed by it. All right. They still pushing that, in the world, they still pushing that black and brown, which in the kingdom, we're all going to be restored to, our original aesthetic, but that's just a beautiful thing to see, the tribes, giving, looking past the outward appearance and coming together like that in the world. It's just it's a foreshadowing of things to come. Because in the kingdom, hey, all the tribes is gonna be together, man. Ain't gonna be no, you know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna be no, okay, well, we're the northern kingdom and then that's the southern kingdom, and even though, no, man. All the tribes gonna be together, man. All right. Continuing on to the next, not the next, but now we wrapped up with that. We go into Ezekiel 37 once again. All right, and now we're going to segue into the 2 sticks. All right, because that's where this thing starts from, and that's why, through the spirit, I had the lesson go like this, man. Because you're going to have Jakes in the world, man. Hey, who knows? Maybe they, flip and go to war tomorrow type-ish. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they you know what I'm saying? But in the truth, it's not going to be, Jake is not going to be fazed by Esau's pathetic attempts, man. It's going to be a lot of false flags, a lot of, stuff that is going to go on where this stuff is going to want to, create chaos, and we're seeing that, man. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing that, a lot of things, happening, behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like the food plants, I keep on mentioning that, because that's going to bring about the famine. The dollar, collapsing, because these devils is going to do away with that and, usher in a digital currency where you're going to need the CHIP to, partake in that. So this devil is ushering in his new enterprise, man. That he thinks he's going to, live. So continuing on Ezekiel 37 and 15. All right. So getting back into, the topic. Now, this is a heavy prophecy and it is being made manifest. All right. And it reads, the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah. All right. And for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, for all the house of Israel and his companions. Okay. So you have two sticks. All right. You have one that is for Judah, the southern kingdom, and one that is for Joseph, the northern kingdom, Ephraim. All right. Continuing on, and it reads, and join them one to another. All right. One into another stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, our power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, all right, so that's the northern kingdom, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. All right. And that's ultimately going to be the status of the state of Israel in the kingdom, man. None of that, northern kingdom, southern kingdom division. That was punishment. All right. That's all that was. OK, but that's, being done away with, man. All right. And those that still, want to carry that spirit over. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you're not going to make it, man. All right. At least you repent. You're not going to make it. Especially if you in this truth and you got an evil eye towards, your brother, whoever he may be, whether he be northern kingdom or southern kingdom, whatever the case may be, you still got an evil eye. You're not going to make it, man. At least you repent and you get that demon off you. All right. So continuing on in the reads, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. All right. And the stick whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And thus said, hand before their eyes, and say unto them, thus said Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, our power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. Okay. So this all ends, ultimately this is all happening, towards the salvation, man. All right. It's all conducive towards our salvation, towards the restoration of our nation. Okay. Verse 22, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And that's talking about Yahushai. And they shall be no more two nations. All right. Because again, that's what it was. The northern kingdom, the southern kingdom. Nothing is new under the sun. Now what do they call it? The black and brown. Right? And they shall be no more two kingdoms, because we're going to be together as one. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. So in the kingdom, ain't going to be no northern kingdom, southern kingdom, man. It's going to be, yo, Shalom. That's the brother from Naphtali. He coming in to kick it, man. Oh, that's the brother Benjamin, man. From his section, he's coming in to kick it. Everybody's invited, man. Not in that, oh, he from what kingdom? Oh, he from Joseph. Nah, I can't mess. That's over with, man. That's done away with. All right. Let me see if there's a little bit more on that. Yep, that's going into, the idols. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, we hit the the points. You know what I'm saying? Israel will be coming together, man. All right. And these latter times, it's manifesting, man. You're seeing Israel come together, So with that, I'm going to end it off with the book of Amos, chapter 9 and 11. All right. And it reads, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. Okay. Because again, we're not concerned with the tribes that's in the world. Now I use that, that controversy that happened in the world as an inspiration, because I saw, the prophecies being made manifest. You know, I saw a foreshadowing of what's to come. And what I saw was, you know, Jake in the world looking past the outward appearance and still, you know what I'm saying, coming together, man. You know, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? And that just screams Amos 9:11. That screams Ezekiel 37. You know? But at the end of the day, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is concerned with the elect. All right? It starts hearing this truth, man. Okay? So continuing on, and it reads, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof." I mean the separations, the little beefs. Because really all the tribes is, you know what I'm saying, separate, you know, they all divided, man. You got Latin tribes that don't like, you know, other Latin tribes for whatever reason. You know? Northern Kingdom against Southern Kingdom. Southern Kingdom against Southern Kingdom. Northern Kingdom against Northern Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? All that's being closed up, man. All right, but it starts here in the elect. You know, these other, you know, these Jakes in the world, whether, you know, they get it or whether they, you know, give up that spirit, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? However it transpires with them, it really don't matter. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is concerned with the remnant. All right? Now, you may have Jakes, you know, that's, you know what I'm saying, that come in the truth through that. You know? Hey, someone, you know, caught up in the controversy, you know, they come across a video and the rest is history, man. All right? But continuing on in the reason, I'll raise up his ruins and I will build it as in the days of old. You know, no more, you know, Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom is going to be one whole nation of Israel, man. All right? And that's what's going to, that's the rulership. You know, that's going to be the status, the state of our people in the kingdom. You know, no more going to be called two nations, but one. All right? So, hey, you know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. You know, bringing in, you know, with the situation, you know, with a new angle, you know, going into the origins. You know, how it came to be. It was just judgment, man. You know, from on high. Guess what? That's being done away with. You know, a lot of, and a lot of demons is going to amplify. You know, when all hell breaks loose, the closer we get to the end, you know, the more, you know, turned up the demons get. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, man, you know, you just refer to that, you know, Ephesians chapter 6. You know what I'm saying? Put on that armor and endure. You know, don't be fazed by, you know, don't get caught up in the hype that the world throws at you, you know, to get you to go off, you know, to get you to stray from the path, you know. So with that, I'm going to say, Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakah HaKodash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Or willing this lesson was edifying. And to the Akim out there, with that, I'm going to say Shalom. On to the next.